Hi, you're with Scott. This is Battery Exhausted, my channel. It's midnight, it's always midnight. This is your right ear and your left ear because we're recording in mono. Yes, I'm back and I may make a video about why I went away or whatever, but for now, let's just get on with this video. I've been noticing a sort of anti-vegan bias in the BBC News website over the last year or so, and I just wanted to make videos about it, so... This particular story isn't necessarily strictly anti-vegan, but let's just see what they're bringing up on, in case you missed it. Grey squirrel lasagna on London restaurant menu. A London chef is serving up lasagna made out of grey squirrel meat. Yvonne Tisdale Downs, I hope I pronounced his name right, who runs Central Restaurant Native, said he was not actively hunting squirrels to put on his customers' plates. Mr. Tisdale Downs said squirrels were essentially a waste product due to gamekeepers culling the animal, and so he was just putting the meat to use. Supermarkets have also begun selling squirrel, but some ethical groups are asking if it's right to eat the animals. That's their little write-up there. I'll make my comments on that. My first comment is that it's basically an advert, isn't it? Like, you know, do you want to eat squirrel? We'll get down to this guy's restaurant. What a quirky little thing. How should we treat the... How should we treat this? Probably as a quirky little thing, I guess. A quirky little thing. Squirrels are essentially a waste product, we're being told here. Squirrels are a waste product. I don't know if you're vegan or not vegan, but do you agree? Are squirrels essentially a waste product? And this is an interesting comment. And so he was just putting the meat to use. I mean, I hear this all the time, you know, about waste and putting it to use. And I guess a vegan argument toward why we shouldn't eat everything that's waste is pretty obvious. You know, you shouldn't eat everything that's considered waste, should you? And to consider something a waste, I believe that the life is the thing we should value. And it's a waste of a life to kill it and eat it. And I don't know, like, you know, when my granddad died, we didn't eat him because it would have been a waste. Supermarkets have also begun selling squirrel. That sounds a bit nuts. Had to get it in there, didn't I? But some ethical groups are asking if it's right to eat the animals. I think it's just commonly taken amongst society that just lay off the squirrels. You know, nobody really goes around chomping down loads of squirrels. It's just commonly known, commonly standard. In societies. And let's look at the video anyway. Let's have a look at the video. Okay, let's see what they're saying about squirrels. Grey squirrels. We all love feeding them nuts in the park. Well, I don't. But what about if they were actually our food? Well, there's an angle to it, isn't there? There's an angle to that story. We all love feeding squirrels nuts in the park, but have you considered eating them?
It's a sustainable meat. Tastes delicious. Why not?
I never thought I would eat.
Let's just break this down one comment at a time, sorry. It's a sustainable meat and it tastes delicious. I'd argue about the sustainability of squirrel. I don't know if we've investigated how sustainable squirrel is if everyone were to choose to eat them. And it tastes delicious. That's subjective, you know. Some people like broccoli when other people don't. Some people like licorice and other people don't. And there are tastes that are acquired. And sometimes things that one culture can think is really delicious, another culture can think is a bit yucky. And that's just purely because of acquired cultural taste, isn't it? It's something that you can basically change. And if it's just down to what's delicious, if that's the only way you select your diet, obviously it's not, is it? Nobody selects their diet based on what's just delicious. There are other factors to that. So why not? Is because it might not be healthy. There's a why not. There's an instant one. But another important one is that you don't need to kill squirrels in order to fill your tummy. You can quite happily fill your tummy with other things that weren't busy about their own daily lives. So I've got an answer to that, which is they might not be sustainable And you don't have to eat living things. There are other options now in our modern world.
Why not?
I never thought I would eat squirrel, but it's delicious, it's light, and I'm speechless.
Massive hipster.
Look at this fucking sfacino over here. We're in a cap in a nice restaurant like this.
I'm speechless.
Take your hat off.
Never thought I would eat squirrel, but it's delicious.
That was nice. Goes with your hat and your little earring, your little squirrel eating experience. Enjoy it. Life's fun. But not for the squirrel, which was murdered so that this guy could eat it.
Delicious.
Customers say you can't taste the difference between this and a normal lasagna, as if it's some kind of vegan substitute. You know, you can't taste the difference, so, you know, it gets stuck in. Well, why not have a normal lasagna? Well, same reasons as the squirrel, isn't it? Same reasons as the squirrel. Don't have a normal lasagna with meat in it, because meat is actually flesh with a different name on it, and it was once something that was living and walking around. You can have a lasagna that you won't be able to taste the difference that's vegan, and the benefit of that far outweighs the benefit of eating a squirrel. And that's ecological as well as ethical, as well as the squirrels prefer it. Some may call it a tasty meat dish. Others may call it rodent flesh. You know, you can call it what you like, can't you? Others may call it cruel. Well, only as cruel as every other farming practice. You know, only as cruel as eating a cow or a child.
We're not actively going out and hunting squirrels to serve to people.
That's
it is
all right.
effectively a waste product.
Hang on, wait. I've got to break this down bit by bit as well. We're not actively going out and hunting squirrels to serve to people. All right, that's the first bit. Now, that's taken as read, isn't it? When you go to every restaurant, like, I don't expect him to be actively going out and picking my carrots. Yeah. That makes it better, does it? That he's not the one doing the killing.
It is effectively a waste product.
Oh, it's a waste
So
product. We're going back. Yeah, we got that again, haven't we? Oh, that's okay. It's effectively a waste product. That's what he means. So, you know, no one's actually trying to farm squirrel. They're just there. They're dead. They're just lying around as waste product. And like I said at the start of the video, I don't know if everyone will consider the life of a squirrel as waste product. Certainly not the squirrels who are out, you know, doing their thing, and certainly not the rest of the ecosystem, who, you know, probably thinks if a squirrel is a waste product, then I guess I am too. And that kind of goes for rabbits and for I don't know, you name it. It's lying around. It's basically dead. Waste product.
Waste product. So the gamekeeper.
Oh, and that's why they're dead. That's why they're dead. It's because gamekeepers are culling the squirrels. Why are gamekeepers killing squirrels? Let's find out.
Are culling the squirrels because the squirrels go and eat the baby bird eggs.
The baby bird eggs. Oh, poor baby birds. What kind of birds are they? Oh, they're birds that are being reared to be shot. The squirrels don't destroy the trees. Let's get that right. How would a squirrel destroy a tree? Come on. Let's be real. Squirrels, part of the ecosystem, live in the trees, eat the nuts. They don't destroy the trees. They're part of the ecosystem. And the reason the gamekeepers are killing these squirrels is because they're just getting in the way of their business, which is to rear animals so they can shoot them. So squirrels are now vermin. You know, they haven't done anything wrong. All they've done is be a squirrel and do exactly what a squirrel's supposed to do. But they're now vermin. They're now blight of the countryside, destroying these poor baby bird eggs that we want to raise so we can shoot them. And we're going to go out and shoot all the squirrels. So they're just waste product, aren't they? Waste product.
Or they destroy the trees.
Fucking squirrels, destroying all the trees. Bushy-tailed wanker.
If we can provide a source of income, I guess, for these gamekeepers, they're going to look to cull the squirrels a lot more ethically.
Do you think that's right? If this guy, licking his lips, if this guy pays the gamekeepers to kill them, If he pays them for each dead squirrel they bring in, they're going to be a lot more ethical, aren't they? Those gamekeepers are already falling well short of the ethical measure that most of us modern people attempt to live up to, which is not hurting other living things. Already falling well short of that measure by breeding animals in order to kill them, keeping them captive, killing them, and then profiting from that suffering. Already falling well shy of what I would consider to be a basic ethical benchmark in today's day and age, where we understand that animals suffer. In the most basic sense, we understand that they suffer if we do these things to them, and also that we don't have to, because we've got other means of sustenance. So they're gonna. Do you think? What would you do if you were in the gamekeeper's position? Would you suddenly become more ethical? Turn it in. You know what, mate? I'm ringing. All right, this batch of squirrels. We read them all a bedtime story, and we made sure that they'd had a long and peaceful life. And then, as they were going to fall asleep in their sleep, we took them and we brought them to you for cooking. No, they're not going to do that. They're just going to breed squirrels in little cages and sell them to you. The more money you give them, the more cages they're going to buy, and the more squirrels they're going to breed. Suddenly, squirrels won't be waste product. Suddenly, squirrels will be a money maker. And the poor squirrels that just got shot running around, or trapped, or poisoned, those poor squirrels are now going to be captured and made to be bred in little cages. It's going to be horrible for them. They're going to get fattened up, aren't they? Think about it. What do they do to the cows with the steroids? What are they doing? They're going to do that to the squirrels next. But ethically. The squirrels were originally cold. Cold's a word. It's like this meat word, isn't it? Meat. What's meat? It's flesh, isn't it? Meat is flesh. We all call it flesh until you want to sell it and cook it and eat it. And it sounds a bit horrible to be saying flesh, so you say meat. It's a bit nicer. The squirrels were originally cold. Cold means killed, but it makes it sound like it was necessary. Like cold, oh, there's too many of them, oh, it's a problem. For their own good, we're gonna reduce their numbers. It wasn't that. And left as waste. Left as waste. The squirrels were originally killed and left to rot. But now the supermarkets are selling them. Good for you, little squirrel. Life has just taken a big uptick.
Until people like us.
Just a minute, before this guy chimes in and tells us about what it was like before the squirrels were sold for their flesh, what life was like before that, I just want to ask this little squirrel fella. What do you think life is like for you, little squirrel fella? What would you like? Have you got an opinion? Do you give a shit? If you could understand, I mean, when it was happening to you, would you prefer to be out running around or dead murdered? Life's about to get pretty hectic for these poor guys, and they don't even know it's coming.
So we start to sell them. They were just being chucked into landfill. So.
Oh, wait, hang on, wait. This is I want you to remember, this is the BBC. The BBC have asked these people for their opinions and edited together the ones they like to construct a sort of perspective on things that you can then watch and soak up and, you know, just accept that's the way life is. They were just being chucked into a landfill. I question that. I say, before you started killing them and eating them, yeah, until people like you started to sell them, I'd say what was happening to the squirrels, yeah, they were being chucked into landfill, but before people like the gamekeepers started to kill them, they were just going around being squirrels. So they don't need people like you to sell their dead corpses to make life better, do they? The root of the problem was that they were being murdered in the first place, wasn't it?
We're just being chucked into landfill. So what we have is a source of meat that is very sustainable because
Oh, because he doesn't even know why they're sustainable. Do you know what sustainable means? Do you really know what it means? sustainable, able to be maintained at a certain rate or level. And when we sort of talk about that in dietary terms or resource terms, it means that enough for us all to have and to continue having. Enough for everyone to have a bit and continue to have a bit, and it won't run out. Yeah? I'll tell you some things that are sustainable, like potatoes, rice, beans, corn, avocados, broccoli, all the fruit and veg, that's all sustainable, all of it, all the fruit and veg. I know some of it, rainforests and palm oil and all that, yeah, it's not sustainable if you do it in the wrong way, but generally, all the fruit and veg, that's sustainable. Shall I tell you what's not sustainable is killing animals to eat them, and the only way you're able to make it anywhere near any resemblance of sustainability, so that some people, like half the world, not all of them, not everyone, only half the people at best can eat animal flesh. The only way you can make that seem sustainable is if you factory farm these animals in horrific conditions. It's not true sustainability, not in a sort of ecological sense, not in a sort of not in an ecosystem sense. That's not sustainable. And this guy reckons that these squirrels, they're sustainable. You can't even get the word out.
So what we have is a source of meat that is very sustainable because...
Because why? Why is it sustainable? It's not fucking sustainable. Is it? It's not. If we all went around eating squirrels, how many squirrels do you think would be left by the end of the year? And how many squirrel farms do you think there'd be? And how sustainable do you think it would be to grow all the nuts and all the feed to give to the squirrels instead of just eating the fucking nuts?
They're wild and they would be kind of thrown away otherwise.
They'd be thrown away, wouldn't they? Squirrels in the wild. We'd just throw them away. So from landfill to a plate fill. That's a good, nice little pun. That's the sort of level that we should be aiming our journalism on here, is whoever's put this shit together. A nice little pun. People actually like squirrels. This is a soft target, you shouldn't be punning on the death of the squirrel. They're soft targets. People like them. Don't be mean. Don't make pun-based humour. Really base humour, like really, really average. Supermarkets have also begun selling squirrel. That sounds a bit nuts. I did one earlier, didn't I, about nuts? It was shit. Don't do that. Many still question if it's right to eat the animals, and they don't just mean these animals, squirrels, they mean all the animals. Many people still question, here we go. I'm getting irate because it's not still question. This is a loaded statement, isn't it? Many still question if it's right to eat the animals, meaning they're still questioning it, but they'll stop. Because lots of people don't question because they've come to the answer that, yeah, it's okay to eat the animals. Many still question. Why are they still questioning? It shouldn't be, that's... They've got this arse about face, haven't they? Like, this kind of report should be like, what the fuck are these idiots doing eating squirrels? Have you not had enough? What's wrong with you in your hoity-toity, wanky-spanky restaurant where you reckon that it's a good idea to go out and get a load of squirrels off gamekeepers and serve them up to your customers? And that's the attitude of this article should be, what the fuck are these idiots doing? It's obviously wrong to kill and eat animals when you've got easy alternatives. That's what it should be saying. Many still question if it's right to eat the animals. I question if it's right to eat the animals. I don't just question it. I've come to the answer, and it's not right. No, it's not right to eat the animals. Simple. And that's what they leave you with, plate of food there, look, appetising. Many still question if it's right to eat the animals. So that's what we've got for today's video. I'm going to see if I might continue doing it. I'm sure the BBC is going to keep giving me content. So, oh look, they did have, should squirrel be on the menu? Like 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Let's see what's changed in 8 years. A North London grocery store is committing wildlife massacre by selling squirrel meat. An animal welfare group has claimed. Vegetarians International, Voice for Animals, Viva, accused a branch of Budgeons of supporting a barbaric and needless cull of grey squirrels. So this time they've actually contextualised it from the point of view of the very sensible people at Viva who think it's barbaric and needless to be eating the squirrels and culling them for gamekeepers so they can make more money out of their gamekeeping businesses by breeding more animals to kill. So that's the context there. Should squirrel be on your own? At least it's asking you, and it's probably assuming you're going to say no, isn't it? Because most logical, normal, modern people would. So it's different 8 years ago, isn't it? It's different. But what's interesting is, look, a branch of budgeon. Let's get this. A branch of budgeons, even though I can't say it, a branch of budgeons has been doing it. Now, if we skip to today's Would You Eat Grey Squirrel lasagna in 2019, 9 years later, I think I remember something about a supermarket. It said something about supermarkets, didn't it? Supermarkets have also begun selling squirrel. That sounds a bit nuts. You know, I'm no journalist, am I? I'm no researcher. But let's see what I can dig and find here. What can I find and dig and find?
It's a sustainable meat. Tastes delicious.
It's very sustainable because...
Right, this guy, the guy that told us it was sustainable and couldn't tell us what's sustainable about it, he's the CEO of Budgeons. Hang on, this guy, CEO of Budgeons, he's got fucking loads of money. And he uses his money to promote Budgeons, doesn't he? And maybe he thinks it's all right to eat squirrels. Maybe, I don't know what, maybe he thinks these wildlife lovers are out their minds. But these are the rich people that can lobby the government and can say to our government, oh, we make loads of people's jobs. We run the supermarkets. We think it's all right if you eat animals, and we think vegans are bad. So can you do something about it? I.e., propaganda. And this is where it all... I'm not even being some kind of mad conspiracy theorist here, am I? Look, CEO of Budgeons. There he is. Second video. Second one in 10 years. And once people have forgotten, I'll come back. Why are the BBC it's so interested in Budgeons selling their squirrels? Why are the BBC so interested in Budgeons selling squirrel? Is it just the light-hearted, people are eating squirrel? Or is there something else going on? How has that CEO got onto the camera? Let's look at the old... I need flash player. Right, I don't know why this one isn't loading. Maybe we'll come back to this. But you know what? The whole process has just sort of wound me up. It just sort of annoys me that these rich dickheads can come in and sort of subtly get their ideas put through the media. The man that stands to make money, the man that has been selling squirrel... or attempting to put squirrel on the menu, this CEO, I mean, I'm just having a wild stab in the dark here, a wild guess. I wonder if he's involved with the gamekeepers in any way. This guy, yeah, Andrew, CEO of Budgeons, he's been trying to put squirrel on the menu for 10 years. And the BBC are facilitating that by taking his opinion and presenting it like it's newsworthy, factual, I don't know, anything except the bullshit that it is. And it now seems weird that in context they say, but some ethical groups are asking if it's right to eat the animals, when for 10 years they've known that ethical groups are not just asking if it's right to eat the animals, they're saying it's wrong to eat the animals. Right, listen, I took a little break to calm down a bit. But you see, the thing that makes me so wound up about this stuff is that many people trust the BBC, and so they should, because it's public service broadcasting. But of course, public service broadcasting and the people that control it, they might have maybe slightly different agendas to what's best for the public. Sometimes it might be what's best for the big money people who prop up the government, who pay for the BBC. Now, the thing that makes me so wound up and annoyed about this is this article, Grey Squirrel on London Menu. It's not really a news piece. It's not really a cheerful, quirky news piece that, makes you think and ask questions, contextualised by this sort of YouTube throwaway social media video style. That's not really what it is. And it's not been authored, has it? No one said who's written this or produced it. And the facts that we're now able to bring out are that Andrew Thornton, CEO of Budgeons, wants you to eat squirrel. He's been trying to sell squirrel in his supermarkets for 10 years. That's the headline, isn't it? And in order to try and get you to eat squirrel so that he can make money off what people consider waste product, squirrels, animals, they consider them waste product. They're throwing them in the landfill, and they want to take this shit from the landfill and make you eat it, right? They want you to eat that shit, that landfill waste, because that's what they consider it as. They consider it as just worthless shit. I don't. I think squirrels' lives are valuable. I think life is valuable. I think the squirrels' lives are valuable. But these guys, they think it's waste shit, yeah? And they want you to eat that shit. So instead of just saying that, instead of the BBC saying, we've been speaking to Andrew Thornton, he wants you to eat squirrel, and he's been going about it by getting it on the menu in a restaurant in London. Like that's the facts. But they've spun these facts and twisted them up so that you don't see the facts. Unless you're sharp, you don't notice that Andrew Thornton, CEO of Budgeons, has been at this for the last 10 years. Unless you're sharp, you don't notice that, do you? You don't even... I bet if you just watch this video once through, you don't even know who he is and why he's there. He's just some guy, isn't he? CEO, so he's important. Makes sense. I'll trust his opinion, I guess. Andrew Thornton has somehow managed to get his advert for Squirrel, his manipulation, his opinion, the thing he wants you to do to make him money. He's managed to get that turned into a little BBC 1 minute 30 share on Facebook news video, hasn't he? That's the thing that makes me annoyed about this. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see if we do more BBC videos. Tell me if you like my agitated rant on YouTube. Maybe that's bad, isn't it? Maybe it's bad to be ranting on YouTube. Maybe people might be like, oh, you're ranting, madman. But it's okay, I think, to be angered by things. And then, I've let it go now. I've let it dissolve. It's just when I saw Andrew and realised what he was up to that it flared up in me then. But, it's okay to be annoyed by these things. Annoyed, angry at the merciless slaughter of one animal species in favour of your profits as gamekeepers. Gamekeepers, of course, being people who just rear animals so that other people can spend money on shooting them. I don't know. Is that worth being angry about? You tell me. Tell me in the comments. Leave a comment, like and subscribe. So this video, battery exhausted. Now we're back. Hi. It's good to see you. If you like these videos, we've got a new thing, which is buy me a coffee. I could really do with the fucking coffee. So, yeah. Be good, my little puckos. Be good.
I feel I'm dying inside. I try not to smile as I care. She deals in cliches somewhere